Hey, friends, and welcome to the Homegrown Hopes podcast. We're back for year 2, and that is so exciting to me. I realize that that's not a huge deal in anyone else's world but mine, but it's a very exciting thing for me to have made it to the second year and definitely saw some traction the first year. You never know how something is going to turn out when you try something new, and it's very scary. And yeah, year 1 I call a success because I met so many new incredible people. Honestly, year 1 was a whole lot about just me learning how to even do this, how to record a podcast and edit it and set up booking and, work back and forth with guests on the podcast. And yeah, I don't know. It was definitely a year of learning. So much figuring out. There's a whole lot that goes on behind the scenes that was surprising to even me, someone who has been blogging for over a decade and does YouTube and all the things like that. But there's still just so much that goes on behind the scenes that, yeah, it's unreal.
If you've felt the pull to slow down, to create and cultivate a more homegrown life that's simple and fulfilling, and to truly enjoy the magic of ordinary days, then friend, you found your place. I'm Caitlin. I'm a barefoot, Blue Ridge, homegrown mama, and this is the Homegrown Hopes podcast. We'll chat about everything from gardening and scratch cooking to homeschooling and motherhood. With some sarcasm sprinkled in, of course, because I am my daddy's daughter and Lord knows I'm fluent in that. Just know that whatever it is we're discussing, I am by no means an expert. And I'll never claim to be. I'm just sharing my experiences, the good and the bad, and making the most of the little moments in between. I'm so excited you're here, and so humbled that you've chosen to follow along and hopefully join me in cultivating our homegrown hopes. Homesteaders, listen up. Are you ready to take control of your health and find real answers that address the root cause of your concerns? Let me introduce you to Healing Nutrition, a private nutrition practice that's all about supporting your journey to better health with whole foods and personalized care. At Healing Nutrition, Mandy Nix, a fellow homesteader and functional registered dietitian, is here to support you with weight loss and sustainable lifestyle changes, managing diabetes, prediabetes, and thyroid issues, gut health, and improving digestion. You might recognize Mandy as the owner of Henry River Farms. That is where we host the Holistic Homestead Conference. Mandy and her family grow and raise their own food, making whole, natural eating a way of life. Her passion for fresh, nutrient-rich foods shines through in her work, helping clients connect their health goals with real, sustainable nutrition. Mandy also offers nutrition testing, like food sensitivity and nutrient deficiency testing to cover the why behind your symptoms. And it doesn't stop there. Healing Nutrition's Katrina Detter, another experienced dietitian, specializes in weight management, PCOS support, helping you build a healthy relationship with food. Here's the best part. Most insurance plans cover nutrition counseling with a dietitian at 100%. That means you can get personalized support without the extra cost. If you're ready to feel your best and align your health journey with the whole food lifestyle that you love, visit mandynixnutrition.com or call 828-513-0217 to book an appointment and learn more. Healing Nutrition, rooted in whole foods, rooted in health. Go check them out today and take the first step toward a healthier whole food lifestyle.
Sometimes, but anyway, year 2, here we go. I'm curled up. If you notice, I have a new background. If you're watching on YouTube, things are looking a little bit different around here. You've heard me talk about it probably in almost every episode last year about how we were just in a transition period. We were building our home. We were living with my parents and, just kind of in an in-between, in limbo a little bit. And look where I am. I'm in my new living room. I'm so excited. And if you can see above me, this is going to be a joke between me and my husband. All you can see is half of a deer head because it's not quite in frame. I'm going to slide it up for those of you watching on YouTube, which I highly recommend. Look. Oh, that's a good one right there. Oh, there's another one. There's actually another one over there. Yes, three deer heads in my living room. But it goes with the vibe here. It goes with the vibe. Oh, gosh, I hit my mic. Okay, we're off to a great start. Very professional of me. So I'm curled up in my new living room, and it still feels a little bit surreal to me. It's a little bit pinch myself, like I cannot believe that we are finally in what we plan on being our forever home. Now, I hesitate to say anything like that because I know you never know what life's going to throw at you, but we certainly have no plans of ever going anywhere. We bought this property several years ago, and it has always been our plan to build here. Our other, first home is just right through the woods here, but we are in the woods surrounded by trees and privacy, which I absolutely love. And yeah, it's so surreal and so fun. And this is one of my favorite little corners here. Excuse me. One of my favorite little corners, and surrounded by my favorite Facebook Marketplace finds. So the couch here, this is probably my favorite thing that I have ever purchased. And I'll post a picture on Instagram so that you can see the full effect. But this is very comfortable. And it's an olive green velvet with tassel fringe all around the bottom, which I know sounds like such a grandma couch. And that's what my husband said too when I told him I was going to get it. He's like, wow, that really looks like something in a grandma's house. And I was like, I know. Isn't that great? But anyway, I got there, got to the storage unit, met this older gentleman, and he said, he had it listed for free originally, and then he put $100 on it, which I was so happy to pay $100. I would not care. But he said, well, I tried to just give it away, and my wife said, no, you are not giving that couch away. So I slapped $100 on it. And I was like, well, your wife has good taste. He said, I think it's ugly as sin, but I guess if people like that look. I said, some people do. And my husband agrees with you from the pictures. He thinks it's ugly as sin. So anyway, me and this older gentleman, I've got one sprig of hair here. Hang on. Okay. Me and this older gentleman loaded it on my trailer, my utility trailer. And when I got it up on the trailer, I noticed that on the very back corner, there's like a little tear. And it's not noticeable, but I just didn't notice it before. And I said, oh man, I didn't see that there's a tear in it. And he said, oh gosh, I didn't even know about that. Will you do 60 for it instead? I said, sure. Yeah, I think I'll do that just so we don't have to get it back off the trailer. But I wanted to say, good sir, I would pay double what you're asking. The tear is not an issue. But yeah, he didn't know what a gold mine he was sitting on. And now I'm sitting on it too. But anyway, so here's my beautiful green velvet Facebook Marketplace couch. Now, Facebook Marketplace find number 2 was actually, gosh, was it just last week? Feels like it's been forever. Last week, maybe the week before. Look at this pretty bookshelf. Isn't it just so pretty? Bookcase. I had been looking for one because this corner just really needed something after we took down our Christmas tree, because I'm one of those people that, like, a day after Christmas, I'm ready to pack everything up and have a fresh start. I love making the house cozy for Christmas. It is my favorite. But when it's over, I'm ready to pack up and have a decluttered, clean slate. So this is the corner where the Christmas tree was. And when we took it out, it really needed something. So I had been looking for a bookcase for a while. And isn't it so pretty? Oh my gosh. I did find, now I don't know if it's the exact one, but it looked identical. I found it online for $2,200, which is not in my price range. I did not pay that for it. And I don't know if that's what the original person paid. Maybe they had gotten it secondhand, but I went to, it's about a 40-minute drive from here. And the people were moving and were just selling out all of the rest of the furniture in their home. And it was $50. $50. Sorry. I'm assuming if you're listening that you are as into thrifting and finding a good deal as I am. It is like the joy of my life. So here is my Facebook Marketplace corner for the podcast. This reminds me of, I sent it to my husband over Christmas, but in the Home Alone movies, the pigeon lady that's in the park. Well, there was this meme and it said, me going to my husband with all of my thrift finds and being so excited about it, and this is what he sees. And it was the pigeon lady with like just 1,000 birds all over her. And he was like, yep, pretty much. So anyway, he does appreciate that I'm good at finding a deal, but he does not appreciate always having to go pick things up off of Facebook Marketplace. So anyway, that is the story behind the corner. Okay, sip of tea. One sec. All right, so I am going to chat with you guys today. This is just very laid back. I wrote I wrote a blog post this week about really slowing down and embracing the rhythm of winter. And it kind of goes against what I've done in the past. Not that I don't slow down, but usually when New Year's rolls around, I am the kind of person that really likes to hit the ground running. I love a fresh start. When January 1st rolls around, and I think last year, I could be wrong, but I think last year January 1st was on a Monday. Oh boy, that just really got me excited. But I usually hit the ground running. I usually have all kinds of New Year's resolutions and plans for our homeschool, what it's going to look like mid-year, and for my businesses, and just all kinds of ideas. I never suffer from lack of creative ideas. What I suffer from is lack of systems being in place to execute those ideas. And I know this about myself, and I know that, and that's going to be a separate conversation entirely, but I find that usually in January I want to hit the ground running, but I don't sustain that motivation, because all year long, and I think last year was probably like not worst is the wrong word. Worst is not the word I'm looking for, but one of the harder years that I've had to keep up with life. Both kids are doing things now. It's different when you have just one child in activities. Now we have two, and that is a lot. We started travel baseball, which could be a full-time job in itself, but it's so much fun. I do enjoy it, but it's a huge time commitment. Both kids are playing instruments. We homeschool. We meet with homeschool groups. There is a lot going on. On top of that, we have like life things. Like I actually cook our food and do our laundry. There is no housekeeper here. We have a farm. We have animals that have to be fed and watered and cared for every single day. So there are a lot of moving parts. And last year just kind of really, really burnt me out, because I did not... I didn't have a good, like I said, didn't have a good system in place, but also we just were go, go, go all year long. And I burnt out. So when winter rolled around, and I'm usually like this, but when winter rolled around, I was actually ready for it. I was ready for it to get dark at 5 o'clock. I did not want to be outside until 9 and 10 o'clock in the garden or messing with animals. I was over it. I needed to be inside at 5 o'clock. And I needed to be on my cozy green couch sipping something hot. So when winter rolled around, I was much more ready for it this year. And I'm trying to, and I didn't do this so much over the holidays because they're just kind of hectic anyway, but I'm trying to really embrace what winter is supposed to mean. It's supposed to be a time of rest. And I talked about this in the blog post, and you can find that in the show notes if you're interested in reading things more long form. But I think that God provides the seasons to us for a reason, because when it gets warm in the spring and it's time to plant, I'm ready for it. My soul is recharged and I'm ready. Usually the last couple of years I have not chilled in the winter, and I have not been ready for spring, and I have just felt burnout all year long. So this year I'm trying to really embrace that. And I took notes because I'll get to rambling on here and it won't be fun for anybody. So as I was saying, I think God creates the seasons for us for a reason. And I think that winter is supposed to be a season of dormancy and rest. Nature does it. Some animals hibernate, plants go dormant. And I think it's not a bad thing for us to do the same. I just think that, for me anyway, I feel this way. And I know from talking to my mom friends that they feel this way. And maybe it's a mom thing and we just are made to be guilty. Maybe we're just destined to feel this way. I feel guilty if I slow down and sit around. I feel because I think I still have this misconception in my head that the to-do list will eventually be done. And you'd think after almost 35 years, I would know that it is perpetual. The dishes will never be done because I will walk down the hall and my son will have a cup in his room. The laundry will never be done because all these people want to wear clothes. Sometimes I wonder if the nudist colonies are not where it's at because laundry would be one less thing on the list. But I'll take the laundry. But I think just maybe coming to the realization that the to-do list is never going to be done. So not giving myself an excuse to be lazy, but giving myself an excuse to make time for rest. And the paradox of this is that if I don't sit down and rest and I'm going, and the house is spotless and my emails are caught up and I have got my content created for the next month, well, the children have not been played with. And they're saying, all you've done all day is work and you haven't even played with us. And so I'm going to feel guilty about that. I am going to feel guilty if I do it all work-wise and house-wise. I'm going to feel guilty if I sit around and play all day. There is no winning. So I'm trying to shift my mindset on that. I'm trying to appreciate that rest is a necessity because I saw myself last year get really burnt out and not want to do anything. And that's why if you actually listen to every episode of this podcast, you were probably left on the cliffhanger last season because I think I did 5 or 6 episodes of what I had intended to be a 12-episode season. And then it was mid-November and we had Thanksgiving and we had my son's birthday, then Thanksgiving, then my daughter's birthday, then Christmas. And in between there, the kids were in the church play. We had a piano recital, a fiddle concert, a ukulele concert. I could go on if I really wanted to. And so, and I talked to a couple of friends about this, and I talked to my husband too. I used to love Christmas as a kid. And I know that's because I had no responsibilities. I just got to open presents and be happy. But man, it has just gotten so commercialized for one thing, but also so many commitments that I did not enjoy the Christmas season as much as I wanted to. And I was snippy and stressed, and I did not like that about myself. So this is the year that I'm trying to slow down a little bit more. So that might look like it's a Monday afternoon. We have homeschooled for the day. And now I'm sitting in a corner of my living room talking to myself and sipping hot tea. But I think just recognizing that it doesn't mean that I'm not doing enough and that taking a break is necessary for me to be a better person and not be a burnout, snappy mom. And so I think that kind of, not that I need an excuse, but it kind of does give me the excuse that I need to say, well, this is not news. I'm regurgitating stuff that we've all read. Okay, let's look at the next. What did I write down? Okay, we talked about how like the other seasons are ridiculously busy. I don't know that I think that just in today's rat race, that's kind of the nature of it. Obviously, we're in control of our own schedules. We can say no to some things. And there have been some things that I have turned down. But I felt guilty about it once again. And so I think that just really prioritizing this year, prioritizing what I want the year to look like. I know that there are some things that we will not give up. We're not going to give up instrument lessons. We're not going to give up our homeschool meetup. I don't want to give up, like our read aloud times every day. Obviously, those are things that are non-negotiable for us. And so giving up things that are not really contributing to what I want in this household, what I want our year to look like. So we're leaning into rest, saying no to commitments, focusing on activities that genuinely bring us joy. And I know that one of the ways that I experience joy the most is when I feel very connected with my family, with my children, with my husband. And so there were several times this winter that we piled up on our couch and watched a movie. And, oh man, it just got really quiet. My dryer just turned off. I didn't realize how loud it was in here. It hasn't been in the background annoying y'all this whole time. But we piled up on the couch and watched movies, and part of me is like, oh, we should be reading a book. We should be reading a book and growing our little minds. But you know what? Mama was too tired to read. I was going to fall asleep on the couch. We watched The Grinch. Let's see. Another thing is I actually really enjoy cooking when I have the time. I do not enjoy cooking when it's 5 o'clock and I have nothing thought out and everybody's hungry, and then I'm snapping at them and saying, "No, you can't have a snack. You won't eat your dinner." Well, what's for dinner? Why are you asking me that? Well, that's because they're hungry and they live here and they need to know what to eat or what they can eat, what they're going to eat. So I'm really trying to keep our meals simple. We are cooking through the meat that we have in our freezer. We're trying to not grocery shop as much and get creative. And it's actually been really fun. The kids are enjoying that. My daughter loves being in the kitchen. My son does when it's his idea. So he likes watching his little hunting YouTube shows and watching how they cook their kills. And so he's very into that right now. So we are taking the time to actually make dinner a fun activity. It slows the process down, I'll tell you that. It's not just whipping it up. And I know that the only reason that we can take the time and enjoy that in this season is because we don't have late practices right now. We don't have ball practice super late. There's actually only one night of the week right now that we have a late practice, and I'm able to plan accordingly for that. And so I know that that's why we can do that in this season. It's not going to be the same in the summer when we have ball practice multiple nights a week. And yeah, so we're enjoying that and slowing down and cooking and letting the kids get involved. Another thing is, and I'm sure that you gathered this from me ranting about my furniture for the first 10 minutes of this podcast, but we've been really nesting here, obviously, because it's a new home, but just taking the time to organize things, which I would do in the wintertime anyway, but it's kind of different now that we actually have space to organize it and I'm not just throwing away a million things. We are decluttering. I could declutter. I could fill up a trash bag a day for the next month and a half and I would still have stuff to get rid of. It's ridiculous. But it's nice to have the time in the evenings and not be out and about and taking care of animals at dark 30. It's nice to have the time, when it gets dark, I'm like, oh gosh, it's only 5:30. I've still got time to do something. And I don't mind being inside decluttering when it's cold outside. When it's pretty outside, I want to be out there enjoying it. So we've been decluttering. We've been, organizing our closets and just really fluffing up our little home, making cozy little corners, making every chair and couch has a little throw blanket on it. For some reason, everybody thinks that those are supposed to be in the floor where the dog can lay on them. I don't know why, but I picked them up and put them here. So in theory, they're on the couches and chairs. We have, just trying to create little cozy areas, and we've got candles going and the little fireplace is going. And so by the time by the time it gets dark, it's cozy in here. And we've really had fun. Like both of the kids are in their own, big kid rooms. And so they've really had fun, cozying those up themselves. They've picked out lamps and they both have a sound machine now. And it's so funny. It's so funny. I will have to post pictures, but the kids' rooms are across the hall. My daughter's room is very pink and her sound machine is playing very calming, classical music. You go across the hall to my son's room and it's darker. He's got, a deer head on the wall and his first fish is on the wall and baseball stuff everywhere. And his sound machine is a little bit more aggressive. It's like a storm or rushing waters. And it's so funny how they customize their spaces to fit their different personalities. So it's been fun to do that and to actually feel like we have the time to do that. We're slowing down and enjoying it. As far as winter homeschooling goes, it has definitely been more. I mean, obviously we get our core subjects done, but we've done a whole lot more board games and card games. And one of the things that we're going to be doing on our next snow day, they've really enjoyed. We're snowed in right now. Snowed in. It's pretty much melted. But one of the things that the kids have really enjoyed is like making your own board games. So I find that if TV is not an option during the homeschool day, but we have lots of games out and things like that, then they're much more likely to use their little brains and use their imaginations. Let's see. Now, I said that I like to hit the ground running in January. One of my favorite things to do is plan ahead. I get a lot of joy out of planning. And so I am still doing some planning this January. I think the difference for me is that I'm trying to set some actual attainable goals. A lot of times when I put things down, it would be like what I would, in a perfect dream world, get accomplished. And so I very rarely hit the mark. And so this year, I have definitely done some planning, but it's more about kind of streamlining what we've already got in place. So this will be a bit of a different episode in a couple of weeks. But just creating systems that make life easier. Like, for example, laundry. We do laundry every single day. And sometimes I'm a human and I can become a little bit resentful when I notice that there is a lot of unnecessary laundry, or that one person might be making more laundry than the others, or that one person is not putting their laundry away, things like that. So I have worked on a laundry system since we've moved in the new house, and each kid has their own collapsible laundry basket. They're color coded. We've got a pink and a blue. And so when I do a load of laundry, their stuff gets sorted into the baskets. I still fold for my 6-year-old because I'm a little bit OCD and I want it to look pretty in the drawer. I should be folding for my 11-year-old if that was the reason, but I still help my 6-year-old more with her laundry. But I sort them both out, and then they have until the end of that day to get their stuff put away, collapse the basket, put it back in the laundry room. Now, how we have kind of added another layer to that is my son's old enough to do his own laundry. And now that we are in our own space and not sharing, washer and dryer with my parents and, helping with other people's laundry, and I don't want him to accidentally ruin someone else's clothes, that's a little bit more of an attainable goal. So he has down on each kid has their weekly list of activities they can check off. And it's very minute things like, brush your teeth, put on your deodorant, just little stuff that they know to do, but I want it on a list so that you don't come and ask me if you can do X, Y, and Z until the list is done. So anyway, there are certain days of the week that have become his laundry days. And I talked through it with him. He was not excited about it, but it has become something that he appreciates at this point because he kind of has a little bit, for example, he's come to me before on Sunday morning and said, I don't have any clean pants. What am I going to wear to church? And I say, how is that possible? I just caught up on all of the laundry. That is not humanly possible, but somehow it is. Or, well, these are clean, but my boots don't fit inside of them correctly. The legs are not wide enough. So just little things like that I'm letting him take the ownership of at this point because he's old enough. Not to throw him under the bus. He's a kid. But this is just an example of a system that we've put in place. So he has 2 laundry days of the week. Obviously, if he has something special coming up, he can wash things more than 2 days. But on those days, like one of those days, he washes his bedding and everything and has to remake his bed. Obviously, I'll help with that if he asks for help. But that's just one of those ways that has taken a little bit of the burden off of me, but also given him independence. And it's created a system of, I know, okay, Mondays is Creek's laundry day. I won't be washing my bedding that day. Saturday is my bedding day. And in seeing her brother do that, the 6-year-old has wanted to learn how to do laundry. So she's in there with me, pushing the buttons and sorting things. And that's kind of where she's at in her skill level, her ability level. But just taking the time in winter, I feel like we are go, go, go so much all year long that I don't really take the time to slow down and think about, like, why is this thing stressing me out? Laundry was a thing that was stressing me out. There are a lot of little areas of life I'm sure that I could think about that are not meeting my expectations. But I feel like in the wintertime, you just have more time to reflect and to slow down and have your own, think your own thoughts for a little while. And in doing so, I've been able to kind of pinpoint some of the areas that we need to, tighten up a little bit before we get into our busiest season. So not necessarily setting lots of New Year's resolutions and making big lofty goals, but really trying to just fine tune the little things that we already have going on and making things work in a more streamlined and less stressful way. That's what I'm feeling for the winter season, for the new year. Yeah. So that was the ramblings of the kickoff of 2025 Homegrown Hopes podcast. I would love to hear from you guys. What are some ways that you unwind and embrace the winter season? How do you prioritize rest in this season? What does that look like for you? Yeah, I would love to have your input. So if you want, you can, if you're watching on YouTube, you can comment below. If you want to read the blog post that I mentioned earlier, you can check it out in the show notes also. If you're listening on whatever listening platforms there are, I think we're on iHeartMusic, Apple Music, Spotify. Yeah, all of those things. I'll also have that information linked in the show notes, and I would love to hear your thoughts. As always, you can find me on Instagram at Homegrown Hopes. And you can find me on YouTube by the same name, homegrownhopes.com. And I'm really looking forward to just kind of unpacking this stuff with you guys next week. I think it's next week or the week after. We're going to be talking about some of those systems a little bit more. I'm going to share, which I should have mentioned this, but I feel like winter is this sounds terrible. Winter is the only season that I can really sit down and read a book and not feel guilty about it. If the sun is up, I feel like I should be working outside. I do listen to audiobooks if that counts, but in the winter, I like to slow down and read more. So I'll be sharing my winter reading list, what I've been reading this year, this season. And I do kind of read books with the seasons, I guess, like winter themed books. Maybe not intentionally, and they're not all winter themed, but a good bit of them are. And a few of them I have revisited from previous reads that I just like to read them again and appreciate them. They make me like the season. So yeah, that's what you can expect upcoming. We also have some really fun guests that are going to be on the show this season and a new season sponsor. If you caught that commercial earlier, my sweet friend Mandy, her nutrition business is just really unique and really special. And I think you guys are going to find that she's what a lot of us are looking for. She has just such a wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure she'll be back on the show. Also, she doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be. So anyway, I will talk to you guys next week, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Cheers.